Hello, one and all, and welcome to another dramatic reading. Today we'll be reading the story Sonic's Last One Night Stand, a Pokémon and Sonic the Hedgehog crossover fanfic. I do warn you, what we're about to hear is very shocking to some Pokémon fantards, but to the hundreds of trolls that always go to ED on a regular basis will find this very lulzy. You can read along if you'd like, just click on the link in the description bar. Well, without further ado, let us read Sonic's Last One Night Stand. One autumn afternoon, Sonic the Hedgehog was taking a nice walk in the forest. He and Tails were going to get married in 2 days, so he wanted some alone time to think about their union of holy matrimony. He curled into a ball and zoomed up a tall tree so that he could enjoy the landscape. The leaves were bright red and orange, and the sun shone on them, making them appear like each tree was on fire or made of the finest gold. Sonic sat on the branch and sighed. He loved Tails, but he was going to miss the bachelor lifestyle. Maybe if I can just have one more one-night stand, I can be able to live with Tails happily ever after. What he don't know won't hurt him, right? Just when he said that, he saw a Pikachu playfully chasing a butterfly out of the forest and into the field just off Sonic's left. He stood up and shielded his eyes from the sun so that he could get a better look. The Pikachu was beautiful. Its yellow fur was short and smooth and gave off a golden glaze that was unlike anything Sonic had ever seen. Its brown eyes gleamed into the sunlight and its cheeks gave off a red glow. It looked as if it had just evolved from a Pichu, but it was still a child in Pokémon standards. Sonic felt his cock grow as he watched the Pokémon play so innocently. He couldn't tell the gender of the Pikachu from its standpoint, but that didn't matter. Sonic was pansexual, and the Pikachu was getting him all hot and bothered by its beauty. He knew that if he ever wanted to be happily married to Tails, he would have to unleash his sick lust on this Pokémon. In a flash, Sonic ran down from the tree, through the forest, and stopped 12 feet behind the Pokémon. It hadn't noticed his presets, so Sonic could stand behind it to inspect it just a little further. At this standpoint, Sonic could see that it was clearly a female. Her pink pussy jiggled as she hopped up and down, trying to catch the equally beautiful butterfly. The butterfly consistently had a very similar color scheme as the Pikachu. Sonic slowly followed the true as it played in the bliss. Sonic was fantasizing, fucking the Pikachu senseless. He imagined grabbing the nicely formed hips of the underage Chew and licking her tight, hairless pussy. He imagined sticking his huge cock deep into her virgin cunt and unleashing his seed into her womb. As Sonic slowly approached, he stepped on a twig, catching the Pikachu's attention. The beautiful Chew stood and watched Sonic. She tilted her head to the side inquisitively as she gently chirped, "Pika, Pika!" "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just walking along and I saw you playing, my cute little Chew. I come in peace." The Pikachu just stared at him. She never seen anything like Sonic the Hedgehog, and she crept to him in a sheer curiosity, again chirping. Sonic approached the Pikachu with his hand out like one would do when meeting a dog for the first time. "It's okay. I'm a nice guy." The Pikachu stopped in front of Sonic, sniffing his hand while keeping his head tilted. Sonic slowly and gently placed his hand on the uninspecting Chew's back. The Pikachu flinched back at the touch of Sonic. It didn't know what Sonic was, but it had a sense that Sonic wasn't exactly a nice guy. Its hackles raised and it backed away slowly, saying, "Don't be afraid. I'm your friend." Sonic approached slowly at the Pikachu. Sonic could feel an electric static charge when he approached the Pikachu. Sonic stopped and felt something inside him crack. "I'm your friend! Why don't you trust me?" The Pikachu slowly backed away. Then it suddenly ran. Sonic grew pissed and grabbed a nearby rock and threw it at the retreating Pokémon, knocking it out cold immediately. "Dumb bitch! Now I'm gonna have to take you, and I am not gonna be gentle." He went over to the Pikachu and rolled it over to her back. It had 6 nipples and a nice plump pussy at the bottom. Sonic immediately started biting on the Pikachu's nipples like some ravenous beast. He dug his teeth in one of her nipples and ripped it off, swallowing it whole. The pain and shock of getting her nipple ripped off woke up the Pikachu. She screamed and started to scream and squirm. "Stop squirming, bitch! You are just turning me on more!" And he grabbed the Chew's neck and started to strangle her into unconsciousness. In the struggle, Pikachu was able to give out a thunder shock that was as almost an instinctual defense. Sonic felt the electricity course through his veins, down his arms and to his chest where it split into 2 parts. One part went down his chest and down to his groin. The other went up his spine and into his brain. Both electrostatic shocks hit his cock and his brain at the same time, giving Sonic an mind-blowing orgasm spasm. During Sonic's most intense orgasm he had ever had, he continued to strangling at the Pikachu until it passed out. Sonic rubbed his weeping cock on the Pikachu's beautiful, plump chest while keeping his hands on the Chew's neck. He made sure he rubbed his cum all over its nipples while bucking his hips. Yes! The feel of the Pikachu growing limp in his grasp gave him a thrill so intense, his cock remained hard. When he was sure the Pikachu was unconscious, he flipped the Pikachu on his stomach with her head facing him and his huge cock down her throat. Tails never deep throats. Let's unleash some pent-up frustration on this yellow cunt face. And started ramming the poor Chew's mouth violently. He knew there was a possibility that his strong hips could snap the Pikachu's neck, but he didn't care. All he cared about was how small and tight her mouth and throat was. Her little fangs scraped violently on Sonic's dick, drawing blood, but he ignored the pain and used the blood as a lubricant. Ah, fuck! And Sonic jizzed deep into the unconscious Pikachu's mouth, making sure to hold her head up so that she wouldn't choke on his cum. Only after, when he slipped his cock out of her mouth, did he notice his shredded dick like a cheese at a cheese grater. It hurt like hell, but Sonic's penis was still hard. He cussed at the Pikachu as he watched his own blood drip off his cock. "Fucking bitch! You fucking bitch whore! I'll teach you to shred my cock!" And he took a nearby rock and started smashing in the Chew's teeth. Every single tooth the Pikachu had was bashed out of her mouth and collected by Sonic. Ha! I'm gonna make this into a necklace later. After he made sure that all the teeth was stored aside, he took his fingers and played with the blood that dripped out of her mouth. Again, lifting up her head so that she wouldn't choke, he turned the Pika around so that she was on her tummy, but now her ass was facing him. He used the blood on his fingers as a lube as he jammed his middle finger into the Chew's asshole. Though it was dripping blood, his cock twitched as he felt the heat of the unconscious Pikachu rectum on his finger. It was small, much too small for his cock, but he didn't give a shit. "If I can come just one more time." He took his finger out, rubbing the blood and shit that was on it, on the Pikachu's back. He roughly entered Pikachu's breach, finally waking her up again. "Shut up!" and Sonic punched the Pikachu in the back of the head, cracking her skull and knocking her out once again. Sonic chucked evilly and grabbed the Pikachu's hips, ramming his super hard, bloody dick deeper into the Pikachu's ass. His cock never felt anything like Pikachu's hole. It was so hot and tight. Sure, Tails' ass was really nice, but this had to be the best hole that he had ever fucked. Sonic tilted his head back and growled loudly as he pounded the Pikachus like some wild, untamed animal. He fucked harder and harder, getting even more turned on by the smacking sounds his balls and hip made while making contact with the Pikachu's pelvis. He leaned forward with his hands on the ground on either sides of the Pikachu and bit her neck. His fangs dug deep into the nape of the Pikachu's neck, drawing blood as he neared his orgasm. Oh, God! And with one finally slam, Sonic ejaculated deep into the victim's ass, staying there as an orgasm that rivals the one he had when the Pikachu shocked him, washed all over his body. When he was sure that he had emptied his balls into the Pikachu rectum, he pulled out and sat behind it, panting wildly. By this time, the sun was setting and he remembered that Tails wanted him back before suntimes. Whoops! Time to go! He got up and stared at the unconscious Pikachu's beaten and fucked body. He laughed coldly and started kicking dirt into her face. He bent over her body and whispered, "Thanks for the fuck." And he spit on her face. Bitch. Sonic laughed and grabbed the pile of teeth that he had stored aside and blasted off with Sonic speed. An hour later, the Pikachu woke up and started crying. Her little body ached so much that she was left alone by a careless monster to deal with it. She wept and wept, keeping the humiliation position with her little ass in the air and her face down. Sonic's semen has slowly dripped into her virgin cunt, and she will end up giving birth to her and Sonic's child. It was twilight and the fireflies flew over her head. The last bit of sun showed on the autumn's leaves, beautiful, and in any other occasion this young tree would be skipping the fields, playing with the fireflies until the sun had finally disappeared over the horizon. But the once carefree Pikachu just lay there, like a piece of used meat. She will never be the same. Sonic and Tails had the wedding of the century. All their friends and family were there, and they just partied until sundown. Sonic made love to Tails that night, calling him his sweet little Kibito, which means Japanese for lover. And they snuggled through the light. That day and night was the first of many, and Sonic and Tails lived happily ever after. The end! Well, if you're still with us, that was a very frightening and kind of sick story. Well, I'm sure the Pokemon fantards will be very pissed at this story, but hey, I didn't write it, so if you'd like to write a review, just follow the link in the description and there will be an option for you to write a review. Although I do think that you have to make an account on fanfiction.net, but hey, if it's worth it, go ahead and do it and you can write yourself a review. So, I hope you enjoyed this little dramatic reading. This is Beltina500, signing out. And also, be on the lookout for my counterpart, Eastside Steve, who also does dramatic readings. You can find his link in the description bar. Take it easy, folks.